This broadcast is brought to you by Colby Brooks with Century 21 Right Pace Real Estate and buyfrombrooks.com. Let Colby Brooks handle all your real estate needs. On NEA report, a missing woman thought to be missing in northeast Arkansas from southeast Missouri, and we'll have the latest from her family coming up on the tragic case. Plus, a Greene County deputy under investigation for assault, his case referred to the prosecutor. We'll tell you what happens next. And a laptop computer that you probably don't want to get your hands on without getting your hands on some hand sanitizer first. It's NEA Report right now. You're looking at a photo that was taken after 1 p.m., about 1:15, on Highway 49. This is going into Brooklyn, and it's in front of Bush Agriculture. It appears that a tractor trailer has been involved in an accident at a railroad crossing where a train at least is passing at that very moment and may have been involved in the accident, although we can't really tell for sure because there's a little bit of distance between the photographer, Kimberly Tennant, thank you for sending that along to us, and the accident. Now, it does not appear, at least from this visual, that the actual cab of the 18-wheeler there would have been hit. We're hoping nobody injured in this, but it does appear like the back doors to the van, at least one of them, it looks like is broken off. It looks like the other's bent. So there may have been a collision that took place on the back part of the vehicle. Of course, as you can tell, that is just about the entire length of the tractor trailer, the small little pathway that one would have to set on before getting onto the highway. And if traffic's coming and that vehicle was not the first across the tracks, it could mean it got trapped over the train tracks. We don't know that happened, but this was just a little bit after 1 o'clock on Highway 49 going into Brooklyn, and photos sent to us by Kimberly Tennant. This post has been shared some 11,000 times. It was updated yesterday. Michelle Bell missing from southeast Missouri. Last seen, or at least according to this, the last person to see her was in the Joyner community around 4:30 p.m. Monday. This was updated yesterday, and it mentions yesterday, so that would have been Monday from where we're at now. If anybody in the Joyner community has seen her, or anybody in Mississippi County, maybe near West Memphis, or one of the other larger communities here that you would need to travel through to go somewhere else, if you have seen Michelle Bell, please call either Mississippi County Sheriff's Office, Arkansas State Police, the Pemiscot County Sheriff's Office, or just notify 911. She was last seen with no shoes or coat, all pink clothing, but it was very cold last night. As you know, the last several nights have been very cold, below freezing early this morning, so she needs to be located quickly. If you have any information, please contact authorities as soon as you get this. It's called a laptop computer, and as you can see, it's fitting right in this guy's lap, just not the way that it was intended to. And that was not something he paid for, according to the Jonesboro Police Department, who also say that they're going to sanitize the laptop before they put it back on the shelves there at the pawn shop. But if you know who that man or the gentleman on the right side of the screen might be, police say they're both there together. They were apparently teaming up to see what they could take away from the place, according to authorities, and they want their names. I'll actually scroll down to some photos you can see here of the suspects on NEAreport.com. If you know who these guys might be, the desk sergeant, 935-5657, that's going to be the number to call. Reference case number 11457. And you could end up with, you could end up with some cash if you help them to solve this crime through the Crime Stoppers program, 935-5657, for the desk sergeant in a case of an alleged theft that took place at a pawn shop released by Jonesboro Police Department. The investigation into a Greene County deputy over an alleged assault is now referred to the district prosecutor for case review. It's not often that a misdemeanor battery case is going to go to the prosecutor who generally handles felonies, but I suppose in this case, Nothing is going to be handled as usual. It was, of course, December 4th that this incident first began. Now it's December 11th that we're first reporting this. But from what we understand, the investigation was completed Monday by the Paragould Police Department. It stemmed from the incident just a little after midnight on December 4th. The Sheriff's Department called to rural Greene County. The 911 call said that Sergeant Rocky Weber had left the scene in a red Dodge without tags, and dispatch advised that he was armed. But no arrests were made, despite the investigating officer, Deputy Jimmy Huffstetler, finding probable cause to charge both Rocky Weber and his wife, Amy, with third-degree battery. That was the call that brought authorities out there. They found evidence, visible signs of a struggle, bruising on Miss Weber's arm, and statements taken from witnesses, including, Miss Weber and a 10-year-old on the scene, right? So despite all of that, no charges filed. The case sent to Paragould Police Department, and Paragould Police Department not filing charges. They're sending it to the prosecutor, who will then make the decision to charge a misdemeanor, right, that's normally charged on site. That's now continuing here about 6 or so days later, and it possibly will continue further out. Just want to point out that despite the request for NEA reports, Freedom of Information Act to Greene County, they still not released the file to us. I'll actually check my email to see if it's been released today. Still not released. We did resubmit that Freedom of Information Act request this morning. It's possible it's going to be sitting in my inbox, without me hitting refresh right now. But as of the moment, we haven't seen that request fulfilled, despite this being a misdemeanor report and not subject to exemption under Freedom of Information Act law. County attorney is still holding the report, at least was, as of yesterday. The request, by the way, doesn't have to be resubmitted every time. They're supposed to release it once the request is submitted, even if that means they can't at the moment down the road. Nonetheless, we submitted it again, and we'll let you know once we officially receive it, although we know most of what was in there. It will be curious to see what investigative actions took place after we made our request, and the timeline on those, because I'm going to be looking closely to see if the investigation only started after we started asking questions, or if it was already underway. And if that's the case, we want to see what else was done besides what needed to be done there that night on the scene. As I've said a couple of times before, the story not so much about the alleged misdemeanor crime. It's a misdemeanor. The story is about the handling of it and the handling of the Freedom of Information Act request, which has just made this entire thing much worse. There's new reporting out by the Jonesboro Sun today that says that the circuit clerk, Candace Edwards, in Craighead County is alleged now to have broken the law in relation to funds that were left in a third party's account instead of placed back in the treasurer's account. This was after state officials alerted the district prosecutor, Scott Ellington, who's busier than ever now, it seems. It was on December 6th. The Arkansas Legislative Audit sent him a letter about this. It's a case that the Sun's been reporting on for quite some time. They follow this closely, and we suggest you go to jonesborosun.com to read more. A scam alert is being issued by the Arkansas Attorney General. It's called the Secret Santa, Secret Sister scam. And apparently it's happened before, but now it's back on social media, and it works by folks requesting online friends to send inexpensive gifts or gift cards. Gift cards are always the red flag, by the way, to those through email, social media chain, and the promise is they're going to get a gift as well. So you send a little, you get a little. But it says in this release, at the very least, participants will spend money and send gifts without getting anything in return. And at worst, scammers can also use personal information posted to social media to participate, often leading to identity theft. So the Attorney General released a few tips for consumers to avoid the Secret Santa scam. Consumers never disclose your personal information to an unknown person online. Don't do it. Unfortunately, it's unlikely that the consumer will actually receive gifts in response to such a scheme, because if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And consult the terms of use for Facebook and other social media platforms. They may prohibit schemes like this entirely. Review guidance available from the U.S. Postal Service, because it may be illegal to send the requested gift cards. Consumers should safeguard their banking financial information. Don't send that stuff out. Don't give it to other people. And when using the internet, consumers should ensure they're using a verified secure, encrypted website when sharing any personal or financial information online. In other words, look for the little lock to appear next to your URL bar. And if you don't know what that is, it usually also will say HTTPS. The S after the HTTP, remember that as standing for secure. Head to arkansasag.gov if you'd like to read more about this. Let's tell you about a few things happening this week, including Drive Sober or Get Pulled Over. That begins on Friday. I want to always reiterate to people, the police will not give you a warning past the one you're getting right now for driving under the influence, driving intoxicated. Yes, that means driving while stoned, too, for everybody that had a chance to visit the new dispensary this week in Northeast Arkansas. But whatever it is, it's a very serious matter. Drinking and driving changes or ends lives, especially of people that didn't even make that choice. Please drive responsibly and drink responsibly as well this holiday season. That campaign runs through the decade, which really just means through January 1st. Thanks for joining us today on NEA Report. We appreciate you for watching. Please like, share, or maybe even subscribe or whatever button it is that you would click on the website you're on to help us out. We appreciate that if you feel like we've deserved it. Also, if you become a supporter, 99 cents a month, you get access to stuff like this every single morning. These are the headlines for today. This is an exclusive look at what you would have got today if you were a supporter. This morning, before everybody else woke up, they were right there waiting for you. Almost single sentences in some cases, but others just short paragraphs about all the news that's taken place. For instance, the opening of NEA Full Spectrum that happened yesterday. What about Golden Corral? That's going to open next week. There's also some other stuff. We give you the quick look at the weather as well. That's every morning, and hundreds of you have become supporters for the last 13 months. That's when I signed up. You can see that kind of in the lower right badge area. And you do get that badge too if you want it. Plus, you get the nice feeling of helping us keep the lights on, keep things going, and supporting local news. So we appreciate that very much. We appreciate you for joining us today, liking and sharing. It helps us as well. I'm Stan Morris, Jonesboro, Arkansas, and you're up to date on NEA Report.